Welcome to the Christian Nutrition Casual Review. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I'm joined by my co-host,
Mary.
And today, what episode are we casually reviewing? Not professionally.
Right. No professionalism allowed. We are reviewing It's Cool to Be Kind from the Yippee VeggieTales show.
Yes, Yippee, the people who are making all the new VeggieTales. Once a month, every month, without fail, they've released a new VeggieTales episode. And I want to let you know that we are so casual today that I'm wearing pajama pants right now.
Yeah, I really don't think they need to know that.
Everyone needs to know that. Okay. I am wearing pajama pants. I have not even worn regular pants all day.
Wow.
And we're pretty deep in the day at this point. For those wondering what time of the day we're recording, it's deep in the day. Not shallow in the day, deep. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we're reviewing It's Cool to Be Kind. Since we last recorded an episode, I retired, I unretired, here I am. I'm here for the love of VeggieTales. I have a new YouTube channel, for those who don't know, called Once Upon an Island. It's where I spend most of my time, but it has nothing to do with VeggieTales. So if you're only here for VeggieTales and you're like, this guy doesn't interest me with anything else he does, then ignore that. But otherwise, I recommend checking it out. But yeah, so we are going to review the 7 episodes that we haven't obviously reviewed.
Not on this episode.
No, not on this one. Sorry. Since we last. Yeah, we're going to do 7 episodes back. So it's going to be craziness. But
put your pajamas on.
Yeah, put on your pajama pants because we're doing It's Cool to Be Kind. As we learned, contractions are cool. Saying it is cool to be kind.
Not cool.
No, not cool at all. So yeah, what is the first thing that happens in this episode?
Well, as always, they're rushing around trying to find an idea for a show.
At the last second.
At the last second. They have literally probably like 5 minutes until showtime. Always. I don't know what they do all day, but maybe it's make the costumes. Because they always have costumes and sets ready for whatever they're going to do.
I don't know. The show only shows us their lives like when it's time for a show.
Right.
So we really don't know if they're just like slacking off or like feasting.
I mean, I'm sure they're slacking off.
What if they just like sleep all the time and then they're like, oh, alarm clock.
For the 30 minutes.
And then alarm clock goes off 30 minutes for the show and they're like, oh, we got to put together a show.
And then they're done.
Yep, and then they go to bed.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Bed, church, show. That's all they do.
So it's very stressful. It is chaos, of course, as always. Mad chaos. And they have a letter from a child wanting to know how to make the world a better place. And so, of course, this is a very important question, so they're taking it very seriously.
Do they ever take a question not seriously? Never mind, don't answer that question. I'm sure they have. Yeah.
No, they're just very, they want to make sure that, that's a great question. We really want to take the time to answer this question. Well, throughout the chaos of trying to prepare and trying to think of ideas to make the world a better place, Callie, we think cauliflower
girl,
keeps trying to talk to people and ask, hey, Bob, I have a question, or hey, Archibald, can I talk to you for a second? But they're all so focused on the problem that they don't have time for it.
Yeah, they don't have time for that little girl. She's annoying.
So they just, every single one of them, even like Pa Grape and Archibald, who are typically more of the mature characters in the original show, I would say.
Yeah.
Nobody has time for her. And she's even like carrying around a plate of cookies and no one still has time to like
I would stop
eat
for
a
the
cookie.
Cookies,
And
yeah.
Right, that's what I was thinking. But anyway, so the first major idea that they come up with is to give the world more food and the food should be quickly delivered.
Yes.
So they get, of course, like, he's played a mad scientist in some of the other shows, but he's not mad. He's just a scientist in this one.
No, the madness is in the next episode.
Yes. A scientist to explain how this machine he has could just shoot food all over the world, of course.
Yeah, he made the foodalator. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I think that's what it was called. Like I can't say it.
So basically, like, I don't understand it because, like Back to the Future at the end of part 1 and basically throughout part 2 and part 3, they have like their time machine and you just like feed trash into it to energize it. That's how they made it so they can use it without having to like go through insane hoops. But here, did they put anything into the foodalator?
No, he said that he had every element of the periodic table in the machine already.
That sounds disgusting.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how every element of the periodic table was in the machine, and all you had to do was say what food you wanted, push a lever, and the food came out.
And it did. It somehow, though, I was impressed that remember that they throw the show together 5 minutes before. And they always do the theme song, by the way, as we've determined in previous episodes, every time. Like, it's not, we're not, like, this is, they're actually doing it in the show is how it's being presented. Because you see them walk on a stage, they do it, and they walk back out. And that sign always falls, and it always like makes me clench my butt. But anyways, so the foodilator shoots that food, and it always lands perfectly on like this little round end table, like
on a plate. Also,
yeah, on a plate. Yeah, I don't know how the foodilator must have like plates.
It's hot.
You like load the plates in there like bullets, and it just like it like makes the food, plops it on the plate, shoots it out.
It could just make the plates too. It could just be a magical machine.
I guess it does have every periodic element. That sounds...
Somebody who knows a little bit more about science can explain that to us.
I'm not sure if I want to eat food from something that also makes plates at the same time. That sounds like things can get mixed up. I could be eating plate, mixed into my food. I don't know. So anyways...
So predictably...
Yes, of course.
Of course. It just blows up. I mean, it doesn't actually blow up, but...
It doesn't work.
Well, they push the button too many times, or the levers.
Make you go way too fast.
Make you go too fast, and ice cream gets everywhere, and they realize, oh, this is a huge mess. Maybe it's not a good idea. So then, of course, Pa Grape has a story that he thinks will work better. So he starts a Bible story about Peter and John.
Oh, and spoiler alert, it is better.
It is better.
Not only is it actually better for the answer, of course, but it's actually a better story as well.
Well, okay. It is a good story. I just felt it was slightly blasphemous.
Hey, tell them the story first.
Not blasphemous. Okay, so Peter and John are on their way to the temple.
It's biblical.
It is biblical. It is based on an actual Bible story.
I was impressed.
Well, they often do actual Bible stories.
In the new VeggieTales, have they done a lot of Bible stories?
I remember them doing.
Oh, it has been a while since I've seen the 4 that we reviewed.
I could be wrong, but I remember.
Well,
I
always like when they actually do a Bible story.
Yeah, so. It was a real Bible story based in Acts. Peter and John are on their way to the temple to tell people about Jesus and to worship. And so Peter is very on task, ready to get to the temple. And John, who's played by Larry, is like keeps getting distracted by his friend. So he wants to go say hi to his friend Mary or someone. And he gets distracted by this beggar who's begging. And he wants to stop and talk to the beggar. And Peter's just like, let's go. We got to go. And it breaks for a...
Silly song. A real silly song. Was it one of the last 4 episodes where they did like faked us out on the silly song?
They faked us out on once and never had a silly song the whole time.
This one's actually like legit a silly song.
It's legitimately a silly song. It's not bad. It's not one of the greatest.
And this is not like they're going to do this every episode, but if they're going to do it, they actually did it here though.
Right.
Yeah.
Because apparently they had time.
Though every time he's the donut, so Larry's singing about donuts falling in love or possibly falling in love, and the donut says "Amazing Glazed," and I'm like, I can't think about the song now. I'm just thinking about Amazing Grace, because it said Amazing Glazed, but he wasn't singing like to the tune of Amazing Grace. No, it was kind of confusing for me.
It was a weird. I don't think it was very catchy. No. The idea was cute. A donut is singing to another donut.
Yep.
And then Cupid comes along
from the ceiling,
to shoot his Cupid's heart, but of course it goes right through her donut hole middle.
What are the
so
odds?
She doesn't fall in love with him.
Nope.
So like I really like.
Okay, so let's pause. I have a question. Where does the heart exist in the donut? Did Cupid miss, or did Cupid aim for where the heart should be and there's no heart because it's a donut?
I don't know.
Are donuts heartless?
But my question is, if donuts are heartless because they have a hole in the middle, then why did the first donut fall in love with the second?
And why aren't they in Kingdom Hearts? That's all I fight in Kingdom Hearts is the heartless, and there are no donuts.
Well, that donut didn't have a heart.
Well, why hasn't VeggieTales and Kingdom Hearts gotten their act together and figured out that all heartless should be donuts?
Are we allowed to talk about Kingdom Hearts?
I mean, for this purpose, I feel like it's just fine.
But it was pretty cute. It just I don't think the music was catchy. And then Larry had his part. Okay. Larry had his part that he sang, and then the donut had his part that he sang. But the donut sounded like a woman trying to sound like a man.
Yeah, it could have been. Without looking at the credits, it could have been.
I don't know. I didn't look at the credits. It just.
I mean, Junior is a woman.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and we'll do.
Yeah, but I'm used to that.
Yeah, well, that's a whole.
Anyway,
that's not my.
But I was happy that there was an actual silly song. So
Junior's mere existence is too much for me. Okay, so yes, the silly song was just okay, but you know what? I was just impressed that they actually did a legit silly song start to finish, considering that we just went through 4 episodes where it didn't happen or they faked us out, and that's no bueno. So okay, so yes, the story continues, and they're so focused on, okay, we can't be talking to people and taking our time and giving people 25 cents, or as Mr. Lunt asked for 50 cents. He's like, come on, guys, a quarter, 50 cents. And they're like, we don't got time to give him money. We have to go do big things. Yeah. like they're just so focused on the big things. Now they don't say what the big thing is. They just keep saying big things.
Well, the big thing was to go to the temple and praise the Lord. I think that was the big thing that they were doing.
Well, I know, but they just kept saying big things over and over, and it was like, I was having flashbacks to Survivor, the TV show, and where Jeff just keeps saying big moves, and I'm like, big things, big moves. Oh yes, don't focus on the little things. It all connects.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everyone who's listening gets that reference.
Okay.
By the way, good. Survivor's on Netflix for those wondering. Goodness. I highly recommend it. Okay, sorry.
Let's focus.
Yes, I'm focused.
So then there was probably my favorite line in both. Well, in the VeggieTales.
For complete openness, we watched It's Cool to Be Kind and a Shakespeare's play. We don't want to watch all 7 at once, so we don't get like caught up in what's gonna come later, which is Larry Boy. So yes. I know.
So yes. Anyways, but Mr. Lunt says, so they're singing this song about doing their big things or whatever, and they then John, who's played by Larry, stops and says, no, we have to be kind. Jesus said to be kind to people. So then they start singing another song about being kind, and Mr. Lunt, like, he starts to sing, but then he just starts talking, and he's like, can you just give me 50 cents and finish your song later?
Like finish your song like tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. And it was really funny. And so they stopped singing, and
he keeps saying my legs are broken, and I was waiting for the inevitable like, you don't have legs, which is what they do so many times. It's not even funny anymore.
Maybe that's why they
didn't do it, and I was actually impressed. Some restraint there.
Right. So then of course Peter heals him, and he jumps for joy.
Well, God heals him. With Peter.
Through Peter.
Sure.
Yeah. And he's healed, and that's the end of the lesson. Basically, Peter learns from John that there are things, there are people and things all around you that you could be doing. You just have to take the time to pay attention. And so then, of course, the whole cast, as soon as they finish the story, is like, oh, wasn't someone trying to ask me a question earlier and I didn't help? Like, literally every single one was like, didn't someone ask me?
Yeah.
Didn't someone ask me?
Yeah.
And
the girl with the cookies.
Right. And so the girl with the cookies, Callie, is sadly, pitifully walking out of the theater with her suitcase because she didn't have a place to stay. And anyways, it gets resolved and she finds a place to stay. And that was the end of that. Well, they had a big finale.
I will say the first half of the episode was not very bueno. It was the
Foodolator part.
Pequeño bueno, very little bueno. Just only okay at best.
Yeah.
Up until the actual Peter and John story, I was like, oh, they're doing a Bible story. And yes, it wasn't the most amazing Bible story ever or execution of the Bible story or whatever. But that combined with an actual silly song, I was like, made me feel a lot better about the episode. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say this episode's like the best that's ever happened.
Right, but it wasn't bad.
But I would definitely put it. I know we've only watched 5. We've only reviewed 5 so far. So this is definitely, I would say,
in the top 5.
In the top 5. I would say it's honestly, without fully remembering the first 4 episodes and how we reviewed them, I would say this is definitely, I would say, top 2 or top 3.
Yeah.
So it's in the top half-ish.
And I didn't mean the Bible story. I said something about the Bible story being blasphemous. It wasn't. I just think obviously they're trying to show how you could miss opportunities that are right in front of you. And really, in the Bible story, Peter was the one that he saw the man and he healed him. There was John wasn't like trying to get him to heal the man, you know? So, but obviously that's awesome. Minor.
That would be great. Let's just get more murders in the VeggieTales.
Who said anything about murder?
I thought you said kill.
No.
Wow.
What are you hearing?
I misheard you completely.
I said Peter saw the man and just healed him. There was no...
Okay, so here's what I heard you say. You said Peter saw the man and he tried to kill him. And I don't know why that's what my first thought was.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I watched it with you. I was there. I was
talking about the Bible
I've
story.
read the Bible story. I know, but I'm saying I don't know why. No one killed anybody. Or even talked about it. I mean, there are some VeggieTales episodes where it's like, let's kill him. But this is not one of them.
This is not one of them.
Yeah, I would say that I agree with you. The song was not as catchy, the silly song. And it was just okay for me until Cupid missed with that arrow.
Yeah.
Right through the hole. And I was like, oh.
That's funny.
There we go. Yeah, that made me chuckle. So yeah, I think, I don't know if we've been doing this. We've really been helpful if I'd listened to our previous episodes.
Yeah.
So I apologize to anyone who cares about how consistent we are between these. But so basic overall thoughts on this episode after watching it, what are they?
I mean, it's something I definitely would want my kids to watch.
Yeah.
It was good. It had a really good message, I think. I mean, it was a good message for me to hear.
Mm-hmm. It's all
and
about
it's entertaining.
It's all about caring about the little things.
Mm-hmm. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
I just still, classic VeggieTales. It's not classic
we gotta
VeggieTales.
move
But
on.
if you put that, if you move on from that, put that behind you. It still bugs me they don't have a show every time. That bugs me. But
it stresses her out
it
because
stresses me out.
Didn't you used to play piano and
I used to
shows?
perform as a pianist
Yes.
and perform in choirs, and I would have nightmares about not being prepared for my show. So this is like just a nightmare for me, honestly. The first 5 minutes are always like just very stressful. But a kid doesn't care about that.
Sometimes in my own work, they're like, why don't we just, we'll just make a video. We'll do like a video. And it's like 2 days before they want to show the video. And I'm like, I don't think we understand how this works at all. So I feel like it's uber unrealistic to the highest extent that they're never prepared.
Right.
But I think if you can
that aside,
if you can accept that ridiculous premise,
right. All that aside, it's a good show. I mean, it's like 6 or 7 for me.
So I'm gonna look this up, but there is an OG. So I classify each version of VeggieTales as original, Netflix, and new. I don't care what they're actually called. Just want to make sure we're on the same page about that. But there's an OG VeggieTales episode. I'm gonna look up all the episodes right now. So stall for time, but I'm gonna look up the episode. There's an episode where they put on a play for Christmas or Easter, and I'm looking up right now, and they had I think they were like, oh, we have like a week or maybe it was a month, and I'm like, oh, there's no. They don't have
are you
any
talking about the
time
Star
at all.
of Christmas?
No. Was it the Star? I don't think it was the Star.
Yes.
I'm looking up. Okay, well, this one, well, I remember this one being like almost a carbon copy of another VeggieTales episode. It's been so long since I've reviewed these. I'm looking right now, but Star of Christmas, they didn't have
they said we have to finish it. The play's in a week or something, and then they were still rehearsing on opening day.
Okay, I'm looking. It may have been the Star of Christmas. Oh no, I think it was this one. Was it Mary, Larry, and the True Light of Christmas? No, that's not it. I'm going back. I do remember people and myself, of course, all criticizing this one. Twas the Night Before Easter.
Oh,
That's
I
the
don't
episode.
remember that.
It's not great. It's Easter time in Crisper County, and cable news reporter Marley Mead, played by Petunia, is hunting for a way to help others. She cooks up a plan to save the old theater with a cast of costume-clad townies. I'm reading this off Wikipedia. Massive props and a 20-foot robot rabbit. That is, by the way, Mr. Lunt's crowning jewel of this episode. Now there's only one thing missing: the star of the show. When word spreads that singing sensation Cassie Casaba is arriving to perform in her hometown church's Easter service, Marley schemes to steal the starlet for her own pageant. Oh, it doesn't talk about how long they had, but trust me, they didn't have any time, and they were trying to get the star to join their play, and it was they had there was no time, and that's all I think about now when I watch these new VeggieTales episodes.
Yeah, I must have blocked that one.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that great, and I don't even know if you watched it with me.
I may not have.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, so I feel like we talk so much about the premise, but it's just it's there because in later, and not every episode do they start in the backstage.
Spoiler.
That's not really a spoiler. There was the very first or second episode they didn't start in the backstage, but I know they pump these out every month, and I think they've gotten a little bit better, and because we have seen the next 2 episodes, and I feel like they've probably they're going to get it down to a science eventually, because it's clear as day that they're just reusing the same areas, and they only have to animate and make so many new things, and that makes it very cost effective. So I will never knock this show for not leaving the stage. I get it.
Yeah.
And I know eventually they will, because there's a Larry Boy episode on the horizon that we haven't watched yet.
Right. I'm
but
excited about that.
we will review it. Don't worry. That's the epic conclusion to the 7-day series, I guess 7 episodes back to back. But yeah, so I totally get it. So, I mean, overall, out of 10, what would you give this episode?
I said a 6 or 7.
You have to pick one number.
I'm gonna pick.
You want to give 6.5?
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 6.
I'm gonna give it 7, just to one up you.
Well,
And
obviously, I
everything.
couldn't decide. So.
That is true. Okay, well, I feel like do you have anything else to say about this episode?
No, go watch it if you want.
Dope. All right. Well, everyone, stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, the next episode, where we will be reviewing a Shakespeare's play. Do not confuse it with William Shakespeare.
Right.
Yeah, no, don't. I take all that back. It's just a Shakespeare's play. We're reviewing it tomorrow. So we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.